Who the hell can wait till morning? Talk now at LateNightSportsRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Bob Sullivan Show here on LateNightSportsRadio.com. I'm going to be joined tonight by John Maloris and Byron Moten of MostSportsTalk.com. But first, I have a message about DraftKings from Keith Grieve. Keith, what do you got?
I try to give you the instructions. Hi, everybody. Keith Grieve here from 87sportsfans.com. I tried to give you the directions late not to do the DraftKings right now because the script was not up on my computer yet.
God damn it.
So go ahead. We'll do it after the next break. Press on.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
I thought you were going to try to put together a quality product.
Yeah, I talked about that. But, you know, it's me. I forget things, and, yeah, I screw things up. That's my MO.
Yeah, that's fine. Sometimes it makes for entertaining radio.
Yeah, it can, from time to time. But, hey, Johnny, from WindyCitySports.com,
WindyCitySports.com, whatever. That's cool.
Your Chicago Bears finally got a win over Lovie Smith. Does this prove that getting rid of Lovie and bringing in Trestman was the right move?
Oh my God, that's a sort of conversation. No, I'm not too sure really. If it really says all that much, but Lovie's kind of working with what he's got over there. The Bears right now don't really have a whole ton of talent to begin with either. At least in particular on defense, that's kind of what's been the main struggle this year. But I think overall, hopefully they'll try to get things together. It seems like there's kind of like a mixed message from time to time. This whole Brandon Marshall situation every week, it's like something new now. I mean, he was a good boy, his first couple of years here, and then now everything's kind of starting to go by the wayside here. Threatening to box fans and try to set something up, raise awareness. Yeah, nothing raises awareness about bullying than boxing a fan, right?
Yeah, that's not bullying at all. That's just teaching the fan a lesson. He's teaching a fan a lesson.
Yeah, well, they better cut ties with this guy quick, man. Trade him, get him the hell out of here.
Jets Bills. What's your take on them going to Detroit? And is this the first time anybody's ever been excited about going to Detroit after a snowstorm?
Yeah, no, I don't know about that, man. That's a tough call, but you do what you have to do. There ended up being, the owner took a lot of heat after saying that he was going to help pay, fans to help clean out the stadium. Then all of a sudden people started responding, well, why don't you, help to, dig out, the city and all the problems that they're having financially. And you know what, man? It's not him, the football owner. You know what I mean? He owns a football team, so. We'll kind of see how it all shakes out. I know a lot of the guys in Buffalo, are going to, and New York, but, they're going to be pretty concerned about their families. I know a lot of people are, trying to make phone calls, so they're on and off the phone, pretty much the entire time that they've been on the road. So it's just kind of trying to, work things out, back at home while being on the road. It's a pretty tough move, for a lot of these guys. They're going to have a lot weight on their minds, but you do what you got to do, to get through the game, and so we'll see what happens. I think even though with everything that the Bills got going on, they'll still probably come out on top.
Well, on to your specialty, Major League Baseball. That was a smooth transition, I think, for a quality show.
Sure. I know Buffalo has a baseball team, right? Oh, wait, no, they don't.
Well, they might have a minor league team that has some pretty good between innings acts or something like that. You never know. But Billy Butler moving on to the Oakland A's, signing a 3-year deal. Do you think this is a good... it's the A's typical signing a veteran to be their DH. Did it with Piazza, did it with Frank Thomas. Those two are a little bit better than Billy Butler. But do you think this is a good fit, and how much do you think this hurts Kansas City, if at all?
Yeah, no, I don't think it really hurts Kansas City all that much. The kind of the quick view of things. They're looking for a right fielder. Looking for someone with a little bit of pop. They want to add some more offense to their team, but I don't think Billy Butler was, at least all that crucial to their style. You know what I mean? Especially with the whole team philosophy and the way that Kansas City's been building things. You know, I'm just not sure that was, you know, really the best fit. You know, they're going to need to add a little bit of rotation. You know, with their top of their rotation there, with James Shields probably on his way out. So, you know, they are, you know, possibly willing to spend a little bit more in Kansas City, but I think that's something they'll be able to get around. But, you know, in terms of Billy going to Oakland, you know, I think it's a pretty good fit, you know, in terms of what they need. You know, he's not going to be able, again, to, you know, provide, you know, massive quantities of power, but he's still going to bring enough to the table to where, you know, he's going to help them out offensively, kind of, you know, hopefully drive in a couple runs. But, you know, just overall, you know, Oakland needs to do something, you know, because right now that was their biggest problem, is just, you know, having lost the offense once Suspendus was traded and just never really being able to recover. And so, you know, they're going to start seeing them make, you know, incremental moves, maybe making a move at second base. That's something where, you know, it's been a barren position for them for several years now. You know, but I think, I'm not positive they're going to make a move there. You know, they kind of seem happy with Eric Sogard. You know, and so they've kind of got a little platoon situation even with Puto there. But, you know, they're going to have to look at, you know, shortstop. Shortstop's a big hole for them right now. And, you know, they got a lot of other needs to address. But adding Billy Butler was, you know, definitely will help them out, at least, you know, give it a little bit of a jump start on that.
Do you see the Barry Zito announcing that he is coming back this season? Do you see that being the biggest move this offseason, a team signing him?
Yeah, well, whatever. You know what I mean? He's going to go through there, just like a lot of guys. I mean, it's not really, I don't know, it's not huge news, you know, at least in terms of, you know, what he's going to be able to offer a team. You saw Mark Mulder try making a comeback, you know, last year. And so there's certain guys that have been able to do it, but I think Zito was kind of, you know, has lost it for a long while there. So I don't know really how much he's going to be able to come back and contribute, maybe in terms of maybe some middle relief spot. You know, as long as he's not too concerned about making it as a starter, if he can come in as, you know, maybe like a 7th or 8th inning guy, you know, if he does need to throw a little bit longer, you know, and maybe stretching him out, make a spot start or a long relief role, that's fine too. But I think that's probably where he's going to be most effective, is, you know, coming in with that crazy, you know, 12-6 breaking ball and doing what he can do, you know, that way.
As far as, you know, this offseason, the chips really haven't started to fall yet. As far as, you know, Lester, Scherzer, Pablo Sandoval, how much longer do we have to wait until somebody finally makes them? You know, Sandoval said sometime next week. Do you think it just needs that first piece to fall before everything starts to fall into place? And what are we looking at? First week of December, by the time everything goes down?
Yeah, no, it absolutely. You know, it's going to be one of those things where once the big names start signing, you know, and teams can start getting a better idea of where they're going to sign, you'll start to see other moves being made, you know, in terms of, you know, it's always, there's always a lot of teams that are in play, you know, and eventually, you know, narrows itself down from, you know, the entire league down to 15 to 10 to 3 teams. And so that's kind of how all that whole thing plays out. And so, you know, we'll see. You know, once Scherzer, you know, figures out where he's going to go, and Lester, those are probably the top 2 of the big 3. You know, then you're going to start seeing some of the rest of these guys go. Like James Shields will sign, Irvin Santana. You know, that's a guy that possibly, I think, you know, leaving Atlanta, he's probably in a good spot maybe with San Francisco. Or you might even see Kansas City pick him up. You know, just knowing, you know, that maybe he'll be able to eat a couple innings for them. Veteran guy, you know, probably seems like a pretty good fit. But yeah. Once the big names are signed, that's when everything else kind of starts to fall into place. You start seeing trades pick up.
Who's a team right now that's kind of shooting for the stars with, you know, players they're talking to that you could see just striking out and being left with nothing at the end of the day?
Well, you know, kind of one of the major concerns is, you know, at least here in Chicago, is which one of the big pitchers are the Cubs going to get? And right now, it pretty much comes down to them needing to get one of those 3 to avoid kind of having, you know, a major gaffe, you know, at least in terms of, you know, the Anibal Sanchez deal and a few other things that have just kind of blown up in their face over the last few seasons. And everybody's expecting them to make a big play and to get one of those 2 guys. You know, possibly 3 if you want to include James Shields, but it's going to have to be one of them. And if they can't pull that off, that's going to be a major issue. And so, in terms of, I guess that would probably be, one of the teams that you're looking at. But, New York's been, in play, the Yankees with quite a few players. So we'll kind of see what shakes with them, too, because, they're always willing to spend some money, but, there's talks of them, continuing to cut payroll, but I'm not even sure that's going to happen. But, they're one of the teams where, they're not going to hit on every guy, but they're going to be pretty much in just about every conversation.
I am joined right now by John Maloris. We're talking some Major League Baseball. If you'd like to call in, the number's 585-633-7487. Sunday night's kind of a mess right now for the NFL, so go ahead and call in or tune in on your internets. John, Russell Martin going to the Toronto Blue Jays. Cubs missed out on him. Do you think that was a piece that the Cubs definitely needed? Kind of a veteran behind the plate to kind of, be a coach on the field, all that, all that crap we talk about with catchers. Being great managers and then being, great for running a team. How big of a loss was that for the Cubs not being able to get him?
I don't think it was that big of a deal. I'm pretty happy, and I think the Cubs are relatively happy with the job that Wellington Castillo's been doing behind the plate. They would like to add another, catcher like a guy like Martin. But I don't think it was, necessarily a huge loss for them not to sign him. They could still go out there, and get a number of other guys, but he was kind of, the main target. And I don't know if, he was really, because the market was so weak, in terms of catchers, that's why he ended up getting that larger deal. And I don't think, even though the Cubs are willing to spend the money now, that dropping that much on a catcher would really be, all that wise, knowing that, but by the time that contract's up, he's going to be getting up there in age, and the guy can't catch forever. So really, how certain of a long-term piece that would have been, having, knowing that you're going to have to sign him for 5 years, probably not the best move, to be honest.
With, of the big-name free agents out there, who do you think is going to be the biggest, as far as an organization signing one of these guys, who do you think is going to be the biggest bust out of this free agent class?
Well, kind of looking at it, it depends on what a lot of people think of James Shields and what they're expecting to get. That's obviously, determining whether or not a guy's a bust always comes down to, the expectations given, when the guy does sign the contract. And, I think he's probably going to get 5 years, $100 million, possibly go to Boston. I think that's a possible landing spot for Shields. But, you need to, understand where you're setting those expectations. He's not going to be a guy that's going to go out there, which is extremely dominant stuff. He has, been able to be, dominant at times, but it's not, I don't know, like you said, big game James, whether or not you want to call him that, that's kind of been yet to be determined. I think pretty much has been decided that he's not, at least when it comes down to the postseason. So, if you're expecting to go out there and be the best, starting pitcher when it comes down to game one of the playoffs, he might wind up being the bust. You're going to look at him like that. But overall, I think what he's going to be able to contribute to any pitching staff, in terms of eating innings and things like that, is going to be a big upgrade to any rotation.
Of the two teams,
and the other hand too. I'm sorry to cut you off, but even Pablo Sandoval, he's a guy where he didn't have the greatest, regular season, but when it did come to the playoffs, kind of like a flip-flop like Shields, he turned it up a notch. And it pretty much seems, like a sure thing right now that, whatever deal he's going to get is probably going to come with some kind of conditioning clauses. And, how happy is he going to be about that?
I wouldn't be. If I had conditioning clauses or weight clauses, I would not be happy. I'd be fired. I'd be like a Twin Peaks girl that gets fired mid-shift for not making the weight for that afternoon. But with
wasn't it Bellman Young? I think Bellman Young had that in his contract.
Yeah, with Philadelphia, and I think didn't he end up failing one and getting cut?
No, I know he wound up with Detroit after that, but I